See, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome back to the channel. Just quickly, this is what's playing in the background here. Absolute classic record. This was gifted to me by Bill over at Hackman. Is it 77? I love this record. He gifted this to me many years ago now, and it's a real treasure. An absolutely wonderful, wonderful record. I'm smiling just hearing it. I haven't played this in a long time. He sent me a copy of this, and it's in amazing, amazing condition. Yeah, a really cherished gift. I'll put a link to his channel below. Please do check it out. He shows some killer, interesting stuff. I don't know how he gets hold of some of the records he does. He told me he's got a digging trip in Brazil coming up this year. So, yeah, wow. That's very cool. Anyway, so this is a follow-on from my previous video. But in this one, I'm going to be showing South American, I guess, records, and I've kind of avoided the big hitters, the big names. So there's no George Ben, no Gal Costa, no the big names. So these things are all probably easy to get hold of, and they're probably a little bit more interesting than kind of like the big names. So anyway, I'll start off at the beginning. Of course, where else do you start? With this really interesting record here. I showed this when I bought it. This is I'll just take these out for a second. The Paths of Pain, and it's a focus on the CAIFE label out of Quito in Ecuador from 1960 to 1968. This is a 2021 compilation from Honest Jon's. And this is like completely amazing and unique music. It's at a real crossroads of Latin and folk sounds. You know, obviously being 60 to 68, it's right before at the rise of bossa nova and Latin, you know, South American MPB to a bigger audience. So it definitely sits more on the folk side of things. Yeah, absolutely unique. Yeah, I love this. The audio clip will do more justice, but yeah, this is absolutely beautiful. And this is why, you know, this is the golden age of reissues. People doing things like this. This is stuff that has been, you know, lost to time, and someone has gone through and lovingly compiled it and put it all together. You know, it's really special. There's an amazing booklet in here. There's a particular photo I want to try and find. So these are how the records were found and pulled out. Look at that there. Wowza. So you know this is for me how you do a compilation. Absolutely fantastic.
Amor de mi linda Wambra, amor de mi linda Wambra, ese amor que toda la vida de mi ser tu imagen querida ya jamás ha de volver. Yo en cambio de tu cariño te ofrezco mi corazón.
I'm also going to do another compilation, funnily, from 2019. And this is quite an interesting one because it is an Analog Africa release, which I'm sure you're all aware of, from 2019, but it is not from featuring African music, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know now, but up until that point it was the first release not focused on Africa. But this is called Jambú, and it is focused on a region kind of right up in the northeast corner of Brazil called Pará. So as you can imagine, it's quite close to the Caribbean, but also borders Cuba, Colombia, but kind of like a Brazilian base. So it's like this really, really unique, interesting mix of music. It's defined as called carimbo, but it sounds like like a cross between samba, but with like Spanish horns. I don't know. It's really hard to describe it. It's kind of like not what you would associate with music from Brazil. It's definitely influenced by being closer to Central America, I guess you would say. But yeah, this is an absolutely killer. Every track is absolutely fantastic. This is one of the best things I think Analog Africa have ever done. Anyway, the most intriguing. Yeah, with this amazing booklet. Look at all that. Double LP. Yeah, killer. And it really talks about the region in detail and the town, and gives you an idea of where the music comes from. Yeah, absolutely amazing. So this is not South America, but we're going to go to Mexico. Another reissue on the Mr. Bongo label. Something completely different. This is a Mexican electronic expendable experimental LP from 1981, fusing like traditional and electronic instruments. A 2018 reissue. Luis Perez. This is one of those ones that when you sit and absorb it is absolutely wonderful, but it's not something that you can kind of just chuck on and not pay attention to. Really minimal, really sparse, really powerful. Kind of the instruments sort of just come out at you from the darkness. It's really hard to explain it, but it's really powerful when it hits. Fantastic release. All right, we'll go back to something a bit more classic. This is Quarteto Novo. Came out in 1969 on Odeon. This is a 1993 Brazilian pressing. I think this is about to be reissued by somebody. I don't know. I think I read it somewhere. So please keep an eye out for it. It's a beautiful mix of jazz and samba, but it's like really weird, interesting time signatures. It's like a mixture of like classical jazz with samba bits in it. It's really beautiful. But what's really interesting is you've got a young Eto Moreira and Hermeto Pascoal here right at the beginning of their careers, and it's absolutely really interesting. Yeah, it's really I really like this record. I'm so glad I grabbed it. And look at that wonderful cover, Quarteto Novo. All right, we'll go something a bit more groovy now. Now, you will have all heard of the group Azimüth. Now, I controversially can't get into the later stuff. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't click with me. A lot of that stuff has been reissued now on things like Mr. Bongo, but this is their first album, and it's all the way back in 1975. So for me, it's kind of less light and fluffy, fusiony, breezy stuff, and this kind of there's definitely less synth. There's a few tracks that kind of has that lushy synth sound, but it's kind of, there's more kind of like psychedelic guitars in here, and it's a bit more grounded. Apart from track 3 called Montreal City, which to me sounds like it would be on the background music for one of those Nespresso ads with George Clooney on it. If you know those ads, you'll know what I mean. But yeah, I like this. The track Morning is absolutely fantastic. So there you go, Azimüth's first record, self-titled, obviously a reissue from 2015. Okay, we'll keep it a bit more interesting here. This is Paul Horn, Altura del Sol from 1976. Now, obviously, Paul Horn is not from South America, but this is basically an album. All the tracks are written by Egberto Gismonti, features Dom Romao and Dom Salvador on here. I think Ron Carter also plays bass. But yeah, this is just an amazing fusion of experimental Brazilian sounds, with Paul Horn kind of bringing it all together. Really fantastic. If you're into Hermeto Pascoal, this is probably in a very similar vein. But yeah, I mean, look at that cover. Isn't that fantastic? This is a big hitter, and this is one that I saw Dom's video about discogs a few weeks back, and I was thinking about how this to me was like, this was a really big spend for me at the time when I bought it, but looking back, it was probably only about $75 to get a really, really clean original copy of this record here. Novos Baianos, Acabou, Chorare on Som Livre. This is a real favorite of mine. Absolutely beautiful. It's kind of a mixture of samba, baião, psychedelic rock, and MPB. It kind of goes all over the show, but it's a near perfect record for me. Every track deserves its place in this lineup. Okay, this is a weird one. This is one that I hadn't played in such a long time, pretty much since I bought it, and I played it this morning, and I forgot how great it was. This is Pedro Santos, Krishnanda from 1968. Amazing cover art, but this is like a psychedelic jungle trip. It's absolutely killer. It's very lo-fi, but that just adds to the whole vibe of it. This is really killer. I'm not sure how hard this reissue is to get these days, but yeah, it just everything sounds trippy, lo-fi. It sounds just like a time warp of lost music, really. Absolutely killer. Just to know, I was kind of filming the audio clips before I shot this part of the video, and some of the music, especially this next one here, I couldn't stop. I knew that I should keep the clips to about 20-30 seconds, but some of them I was filming over a minute mark because they were so good. This one especially, I ended up accidentally just filming all 2 minutes 2 minutes of a track, and I was like, okay, that's way too long. You're not going to sit there and listen to 2 minutes. But just because this was so damn groovy and funky. This is Guilherme Coutinho from 1978. This is a 2020. I think the reissue came out in 2020 and then sold out originally on Mad About Records. It has been repressed on last year on Mr. Bongo, so you can get it again. But I remember looking forever to try and get a copy of this. I did before the Mr. Bongo reissue. This is the Mad About Records reissue from 2020. Absolutely killer. Summer listen, very, very groovy. Yeah, do check it out. Look at that trippy cover. So next we're gonna end up on a really cheap record that is as good as any triple digit record. This is something that everyone should own. This is Louis Bonfá Jacaranda, arranged and conducted by Diodato and Bonfá. Absolutely fantastic record. I don't know if this is expensive now, but it was very cheap for ages. Like, I used to see this around all the time. This is an Australian pressing on Interfusion, but just absolutely stunning. So well put together. So it just sounds fantastic. It's got groove, feels a bit cinematic in parts. Yeah, it's just absolutely wonderful record. So that was it, really. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I really enjoyed making that one. I may do more. We'll see how we go. Alright, hope you're all doing well. Stay tuned, and I'll see you all soon.